We're also working developing news on the truck toll proposal we've been tracking since last week.
You're looking live now at the Washington Bridge, one of up to 20 highway bridges where Governor Raimondo is proposing tolls on large commercial trucks to raise money for bridge repairs.
But now, as WPRI.com first reported this morning, the governor is scaling back the plan to include fewer trucks, following negative backlash from trucking companies and local businesses.
And here's a live look inside the State House now, where the House Finance Committee is getting ready to hold its first hearing on the proposed tolls, which are part of an ambitious plan to finance repairs of Rhode Island's decaying bridges.
Eyewitness News reporter Madeline Wright is standing by with reaction from the local trucking industry.
But first, Eyewitness News reporter Steve Nielsen joins us now live with the developing details on the proposal and where it goes from here.
Well, the proposal obviously right now is the big question as the House Finance Committee is just about getting ready to gather to discuss it. The day's actually pretty much been in flux as we've tried to pinpoint just what exactly this toll plan could look like when it's complete. And there's big information that just came in. The governor's office said that they are making changes to Raimondo's original proposal to toll trucks on Rhode Island bridges and roads. This plan would no longer include Class 6 and Class 7 trucks. Those were the smallest of the trucks that were originally included in the toll plan. Also, another change, trucks will only be charged once per day at each location in both directions, so that the same truck that goes back and forth doesn't ring up the bill each time they go across. And there's no word exactly on how that might impact the repayment of a $700 million revenue bond that was earmarked to repair the bridges and roads in the state, but the governor's office did just tell us that they don't believe it'll have much of an effect. Now, this is all coming down as we went to speak with Governor Raimondo today to see how this might affect the plan. She says this is only going to affect the trucks that do the most damage to the the state's roads.
The biggest trucks, 18-wheeler trucks, are the ones that cause the majority of the damage, and it makes sense that there would be a user fee imposed on them. Every day as governor, every day, I hear from constituents who say, Governor, what are you going to do about these highways? You know, driving over here today, you probably left half of your car in a pothole. It's time to fix it.
And there has been a lot of activity with this plan behind the scenes. That's because the final budget for the state is set to be unveiled next week. This toll plan will be included, so ironing out the specifics is happening quickly, and we're monitoring the legislative hearing that's taking place in just a few minutes, and at 6 we'll bring you the latest from inside. I'm Steve Nielsen, Eyewitness News.
Now, changes in the Rhode Island toll proposal. It's a story we broke first. Governor Raimondo is scaling back her plan.
2 classes of trucks have been removed from the list of those who would be required to pay a fee, and now drivers will only have to pay it once per location daily in each direction.
These changes were announced just hours before the House Finance Committee was scheduled to take up the roadworks legislation for the very first time.
We have in-depth coverage for you tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Madeline Wright spoke to the State Truckers Association that's against this plan.
But first, let's go to Steve Nielsen live in the newsroom now with details on how much this could cost truck drivers, new at 6.
Well, guys, the final state budget is going to be unveiled next week, and it will be this toll proposal. So that's why we've seen a lot of work behind the scenes today to try to finalize this plan, come up with the specifics in time. And we just received new information on the proposals as the House Finance Committee is set to start discussing it. So let's go over some of these changes. The governor's office says that there could now be tolls on 17 to 22 bridges. That's 2 more than the original plan called for. Plus, the estimated tolls that trucks would have to pay to drive through the entirety of the state has gone up. Before it was $40. Now they're saying it's $40 to $50 a trip. Those changes are made after the trucking industry fired back at Raimondo's proposal to toll trucks to pay for improvements to bridges and roads. The trucks affected would have been Class 6 and bigger under the original plan. That's now changed as well. It's now Class 8 and larger, so the smaller trucks no longer have to pay the proposed tolls. The House Finance Committee just got this information as well. That meeting was supposed to start at 5 o'clock, but as you just saw in our live video earlier, it has not gotten underway yet. Here's Governor Raimondo earlier today on her proposal.
I'm excited about the proposal. It's time to rebuild Rhode Island. I'm sick of having roads and bridges that are the worst in the country, and we're going to get people back to work in the process. The biggest trucks, 18-wheeler trucks, are the ones that cause the majority of the damage, and it makes sense that there would be a user fee imposed on them.
So that House Finance Committee meeting, they have a lot to go over tonight, and they are set to discuss this. Again, though, it hasn't even started yet. And as you saw, we do have a live camera inside of that committee meeting, so we will bring you the latest tonight on that on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11. Live in the newsroom, I'm Steve Nielsen, Eyewitness News.